Hello and welcome to show number 71 of the 1420 Sports Podcast. For beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. Brought to you by Bud Light, the beer that never fills you up and will never let you down. I'm your host, Brent Radlinski, and along with Dave Van Robies, who's at his home, and I'm back in the Yankee Tavern North, both of us in Lethbridge, Alberta. The Seattle Kraken are going to be the latest expansion team coming to the NHL. If you became a member of that team, how would you feel? As a kid, I remember emulating my favorite pro athletes, from the equipment they used to how they moved. We'll discuss some of those from our childhoods. The Boston Red Sox lineup is a lot different than the team that won the World Series in 2018. We'll talk when it's time to say goodbye. We all have a guilty pleasure or two when it comes to the music scene. We'll discuss our guilty pleasures. Dave will have a would you rather or two. So let's sit back, grab a few beers, and as always, let's get into it.
All right, sun's shining and so am I. The weather was fantastic here today in LA. Barbecued, smoked some meat in the backyard, worked from home today here at the tavern. Did a little bit of what some people call work. I call pencil pushing a little bit, but my, oh my, what a day we had here in Lethbridge today. Plus no wind, plus, wore some shorts across the street. Dave, how was your day with this fantastic weather? When the sun shines, a little pep in the step for sure.
It just makes everything better. Like when the sun is shining, even though it's cool outside, it really puts a smile on everybody's face. It takes the edge off anything you got to do or want to do.
Well, it's crazy. Just we're 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks removed from that horrific minus 40 stuff or 3, whatever it was. And then today people are walking their dog and smiling. It's crazy what a little bit of weather can do to change a person's outlook on life a little bit. Before we get going on the topics, there was a couple things. Ben Roethlisberger, I know you're not a fan of. He rearranged his contract a little bit. It's going to go into 2021 or 2022 season. Having Ben on your team isn't a bad thing. I don't think it's if they can bring up. Pittsburgh started off very well, as we talked about in the past. Having him in your team for another 2 years, if they bring another guy in, a mentorship, do you think that's a bad signing or a good signing? What do you think, Dave?
Well, it shows that guy oh crap, I forget his name. Kind of a goofy name, who actually did okay, not as good as Ben, but Ben's there not to mentor. He gives them the best chance of winning right now, and he hasn't won in a long time. I believe he has 2 rings.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
But that was like 2 in his first 4 years in the league, and he hasn't done squat since then. And I'm not a fan of him or his franchise.
But he rearranged the schedule or his contract a little bit to help out the team, and who knows? Another thing I heard today, I don't know if you heard this at all. The Baltimore Ravens are going to, in the next couple of days, propose a overtime thing. They're calling it spot and choose. Instead of getting the coin flip and the team gets the ball, score a touchdown, win, it's one team will pick the spot of the ball and the other team will pick who gets the ball. It's a bit gimmicky, but it adds the excitement of overtime, I think, a little bit.
I heard that. I know exactly what you're talking about. It really, when it was explained, they were explaining it on the radio today. I dismissed it right away, but then as I thought about it, it is gimmicky, but it has a nice thing to it. Like if you take the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime, and like, what do you say? Like, we'll put the ball on R7, and then like on your 7, and then what would the Chiefs do? They'd probably take the ball, right?
Yeah.
We're going to take the ball. I don't care. Put it wherever you want. We're going to take the ball.
Well, I think you would, if the spot and choose things comes into effect, does the touchdown have to win the game, or does the field goal win the game?
They didn't get into that. I don't know.
Well, it's obviously the preliminary talks about what's going to happen, but I don't mind the idea.
No, like I'd like to see it. It has definitely some intrigue to it, and there's really nothing that wrong with the overtime the way it is now. Like touchdown to win, field goal, the other team gets a possession.
I
I
don't
don't
mind that at all.
necessarily.
I like the way it puts a bit of force on the defense to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
If you can stop a guy to get a field goal, great. And if your team can get a touchdown, great. And then I think I don't mind the way it is now. Like the sudden victory, don't want to call it sudden death, but sudden victory over time. That team, especially now the way guys can kick the ball, a 60-yarder is not out of the realm possibility nowadays.
No, and I agree. Like it's so much better. That was always bogus. You win the coin flip. What was it? 70% of the time you win the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, unless you're Hasselback in the playoffs against Green Bay.
Get the bomb, we're going to win, or whatever he said there.
Nope.
It didn't happen. Anyways, well.
But like, and then what? But just one more further. Yeah. Both the spot and choose as well as the overtime rules now. I way prefer that to like the CFL and college football overtime rules.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I can't follow it. I'm a big college guy, and I don't know what's going on there half the time.
But isn't it like you get the ball on the 25, the first team not to score wins, like, and then you get a chance and we get a chance,
and field goal after,
it's I don't like it.
It's quite ridiculous. Anyways, the Seattle Kraken are entering the NHL, I believe, next season. If you were on a contending team that had a chance to win the cup year in, year out, say like, well, now Vegas is there every year. You got Tampa Bay, Chicago back in the day, and all the great teams of the past. And the expansion comes up, and you get unprotected, and the Kraken pick you up. What's your pulse like a little bit? What are you thinking? And are you happy to be in the league still, or you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to Seattle where it rains 300 days a year. I gotta be called a Kraken, which I think is the most ridiculous name in sports history. I'll never get used to it. The uniforms look pretty cool, but I won't get used to that name. How do you feel about moving from, then I got to move my family to this godforsaken team I didn't really sign to play with, but I'm not great. How do you feel about becoming a victim of the expansion draft?
It really is going to come down to attitude, and like, it's possible. Yeah, I think the guys that are going there like have a pretty good idea if they're going or not. And B, I don't think the Kraken's the worst name ever. Like I remember when the Toronto Raptors picked that name, I thought that was so stupid. And now it's been whatever 25 years, and I actually don't like NBA, but I don't find Raptors as a team name as stupid as I used to. So let's give Kraken some years.
Well, the rare and fearsome crocodile or Tyrannosaurus of downtown Toronto, it's hard not to think that's a dumb name.
Yeah, but let's go on back to our point. We digress. It's going to be all about attitude. You're there. You were left unprotected for a reason, and I would hope the team and the player had their discussions, and no one was that surprised by it.
Yeah.
It is the business. But then once you get to Seattle, that's going to be a fan base, I think, eager for hockey. Like, you're going to be the only game in town during the winter. Well, like, obviously the Seahawks, but then you're going to own that town from January till when you're out. And they got the season tickets sold, so they're there. They're wanting, if you can embrace yourself and bring your best effort, I think it might be an exciting opportunity for some players.
But I already had that opportunity, the team I was on, and now I'm going to suck. The team's going to suck. They're not going to the way that, and I wish I knew more about how Vegas manipulated the way their draft work and draft picks and the way they did things, and had an extremely successful team in their first year going to Stanley Cup Finals. But the NHL was like, we're on to you guys. That ain't going to happen again. To go to a team, every team has a following. To go to a team that has a following is one thing, but to go to be on a team that has a following is already going to be successful. That's why you play the game, is to try to win.
No, I get it, but you know what? That's not always true, and we see it in today's hockey player all the time. They like aren't playing to win; they're playing for a paycheck.
Well, no, I agree that most, not most, that there are guys who do that. But if you're, the question was, Dave, if you were on a contending team, you signed there for 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was, and you didn't have a great year. Well, we won't protect this guy. But I signed here. I wanted to be here for a reason, because we had a chance to win. I might get a ring, be a fourth line plug.
So you don't have a ring.
Would you rather be a fourth line plug than on a team with a ring than a expansion team second liner?
Well, if you have do you have a ring?
No, I don't have a ring.
You're still chasing
a ring.
How old are you?
Not as old as you and I, but you're 30.
Let's say 30. Like are
Let's
you
say 30 years old.
Okay, so okay. I think it's really going to depend. There's a reason they didn't protect you, right? So you got to look in the mirror, and then if you sign that fat contract, like it's a blessing and a curse, and you got to live up to that. And if you're not, then the Kraken got to make a payroll floor too. So you might as well have some guys that are professionals.
Man, because like in our lifetime, I'm not talking about like the Colorado Rockies or the Kansas City Scouts or the what's another one that might have hit the airwaves when we were kids. But I'm talking like Ottawa was really bad when they came in. Atlanta was just
the Sharks,
just terrible.
Yeah, they terrible.
Were awful teams. The team that fared pretty well made the Cup final in their second or third year, I believe. The Florida Panthers did okay. John Van Beesbrook and the rat throwing and everything else, they almost won a cup. I mean, there's good and bad and everything else, but geez, I couldn't imagine being an NHL guy, especially the twilight of your career, where you just want to play it out, maybe be okay, make a couple bucks, pad the bank account, to go into a team that wins 8 games. That's got to be hard.
See, I don't think I think they've tweaked the rules so they can't be as successful, but I don't think there's any reason to believe they can't contend, right? Like, because Vancouver's terrible. The like, what division they're going to play in? They're going to play with the Flames, Oilers, Canucks, Ducks, Sharks, and Kings, right? Those 3 California teams are on the definite downswing. You're saying they can't beat those 3 teams their first year?
Yeah, they're not very good, and they're going to be bad for a little bit, and they kind of were too good for a little too long. Some of those teams, not Anaheim notwithstanding, but I don't know. It would be tough for me to go to the rink day in, day out, and that's kind of why. Like, you look at guys, and we'll get away from the expansion thing a little bit, but you look at a guy like Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza, where they hey, this Leaf team, we're going back home. This isn't a bad deal. They got a pretty good team. They're winning a little bit, league minimum. I'd rather that than being on an expansion team that's going to stink. I mean, they have a pedigree, obviously, that they were given the opportunity to sign for a team like that. But would you rather be in Spezza and Thornton's shoes, who have the pedigree? I understand that, or Jake Winters, who gets left unprotected and is forced to go somewhere.
Those are two. You can't compare those two, because like those 2 guys, Spezza and Thornton, have earned that right. Like Thornton, 20 years in the league, and Spezza 15. Like they can do it. Like, I don't.
And they have enough cake in the bank where they can say, well, I want to go play here for a little bit.
Right. And I got a point I want to make later on in the show about that. But I I guess it's all about like at the end of the day, like it's about attitude. You're allowed to be disappointed, but then there's always a reason. There's a reason you didn't live up to your contract. You fought with the coach. You were a healthy scratch 5 times. Like, be pissy, but there's a reason you're unprotected. And now, like, either play it out and just show up and punch the clock, or go and try and make a difference. Like, you can really reinvent yourself, I think, for that franchise, because it's going to be an excited fan base that's ready to watch some hockey.
Let's say if you're a second tier free agent, not a guy who's going to be making 9, 10, 12 million bucks a year, and you're about a 25 goal guy, 75 points, let's say. Do you bite the bullet and say, you know what, if I go sign here, I'm going to get prime minutes, I'm going to get prime power play time? Do you say, you know what, this might be an elevation of my career because I'm going to get more ice time. I'm not a superstar on the team I'm on. Do you sign with an expansion team and say, let's give this a shot? Why not?
Seriously, why not? Like, especially if you're looking
I'll be on every billboard across the city.
If you're looking to build your brand and stuff, like, and you want to get active in the community, do radio spots, whatever, get out there, shake some hands. Excuse me.
It happens.
You can really set yourself up, especially if you produce on the ice, for a nice last contract, as well as making ties in the community that's going to endear them to you.
Yeah, it's a tough one to me. Like I said before on the podcast, I'm a bit of a glory hound, so I might take that route personally. Like, if I could be the big fish in the small pond, why not? If people see me down the street waving and nodding, there you go. Redlinski jerseys on their backs wouldn't be worth very much. Jersey probably deplete in value, I guess, when they put the big R in the back. But anyways, the Toronto Maple Leafs dismantled the Edmonton Oilers this week. And it wasn't pretty at all in Oilerland. McDavid didn't score. Draisaitl got pissy with the media last night a little bit after the game. I don't know if you saw that at all. Is that a good sign, a good thing for the Oil at this point to say, this is as low as it gets, here's what we got to do? Or is this a point where, like, oh boy, here we go again?
Well, it's definitely a slap in the face, because they had that was their, yep, because their Oilers were rolling. Toronto was coming into town for 3 in a row, with Matthews on the bench and their number 1 goalie on
Anderson
the bench.
Wasn't playing. Yeah.
And then they score 1 goal in 3 games, and they better be pissed off, because that's embarrassing.
It wasn't good.
They got beat. No. 1 goal in 3 games with those two.
If you could bet I would have, I think we talked about the other night that I'd have bet anything. Like, these jerseys over my back right here, I say there's no way that McDavid's going to go 3 games in a row against the Toronto Maple Leafs and not get a point. That would have been bet of the year.
The team scored one goal. The Oilers are going to score screw McDavid. Like, the team is going to score 1 goal in 3 games.
Yeah. No, it was unbelievable. I saw a thing today before we get off this topic, and we went away from the expansion draft thing. Would there be a more disheartening moment in sports history, Dave, than the 1986 Steve Smith shooting the puck off of Grant Fuhr's leg? It was on TV for some reason today, and I wanted to ask you a question, because that was about when you were first starting to follow sports a little bit. Was there a more disheartening moment for an Oiler fan or for a professional athlete than that puck going off Grant Fuhr's leg into the net, and you watch Smith crumble to the left of Grant Fuhr and just look up in the stands like, what did I do? What just happened here? Is that the worst moment in sports history?
Got to be one of them. Like, I don't know what else. The glimmer of hope that might take it off the worst of all time is I remember, like, and I watched that game. I remember watching that game. on TV. I couldn't believe it. And I think there was still about 8 minutes left in the.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
And then so the Oilers, when I was watching that game, the Oilers, I believed in my heart they were going to find a way to score, and they didn't, and they lost, and
Well, they're the
that's when I
Oilers.
became super angry.
They were the Oilers.
Yeah,
They were-
I was positive they were going to score. Yeah,
No, that was.
and when they didn't, that
Do you remember who was credited with that goal for the Calgary Flames? I didn't even look this up. I actually know this one.
I was going to say someone like Jamie McCowan.
It was Perry Berezan, of all people. He was actually, from what I recall, he was actually because it was a dump in for a change. He went to the bench, and I can't remember who was forechecking on that play, but Perry Berezan was on the bench, but he was the last Flame to touch the puck when it went in the net. Perry Berezan, of all people. And I think he's on the Flames telecast now.
Series winning goal.
There you go. It's probably his only winning goal. I don't know if it was kind of career he had, but no, just expansion teams. It'd be tough to go to one, especially if you sign a deal and say, I want to set my family up here and play here, and things don't work out. They send you away. I guess because you're end of the day, you are a piece of meat, and you play where you're told to go. Better than not playing, I guess.
Yeah, you're still cashing the checks. Still, they're not going to bounce.
Well, has there ever been a team that checks like? You might want to hold on to that one for a couple of weeks.
I've never heard of a bounce paycheck, but I got to guess.
I would hope not. Anyways, we're past the 5,300 marks. Listens this week have been quite substantial. I don't know if the content's better. You're seeing our smiling faces on the tubes. You know what we look like a little bit. But our listeners from Delaware, they joined again. People in Colorado, Michigan, you're all picking up where you left off. Thank you very much for listening to the show. For those of you who don't tune in the first time, you can hear us on any of the platforms that you normally listen to. It's on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, blah, blah. We're everywhere. If you can't find us, just type in 1420 Sports Podcast, but it's not 1420. It's the actual word. I don't want to spell out 14 because I do that too many times a day. But things are picking up, and it's a great thing. Dave and I are both wearing for those of you watching later on, I'll put this on YouTube. We're both a pair. We didn't plan this. We're both wearing our 1420 hats on, a couple of dorks like we are. But anyways, we're proud to put the show on for you guys on a couple times a week. Dave and I get together, and then I do a show on Saturdays, and we ramble about God knows what. But thank you very much for listening to the show. Before we get going here, I'd like to wish my sister a happy 73rd birthday. You don't look a day over 80. Elaine, I love you. It's been a wild ride the last year. I hope you have a great birthday. Probably go for the early bird special at, I don't know, Red Robin or somewhere and enjoy it, or Harvey's or wherever you are out there in Parksville. But happy birthday, Elaine. I'm just kidding. You're only turning, actually, I don't even know how old she is. 49? 49. Born in 72? Yeah, 49. So happy birthday, Elaine. Tomorrow, March the 5th. Dave, growing up as a kid, playing hockey and baseball as I did, you wore your wristbands a certain way. You wore your cleats a certain way. You pulled your stirrups up like Ricky Henderson. Cheap Ricky Henderson plug right there. Easy one. And you emulate these guys on TV that you see. And back then, we only used to see these guys once a week on the Game of the Week or Hockey Night in Canada. You wouldn't see them very often. And it was part of growing up as a kid, as a youngster. You just loved it and adored it. And you bought the magazines, and you had Sports Illustrated and whatever else, and you had them up in your locker. Was there a couple of guys, Dave, that you thought, man, that guy's pretty cool just because he was an athlete?
Yeah, like it was back as a kid. Like I was a soccer kid, and then so like it was for us back then. Like when you go to soccer schools and shit like that in the summer, they show you the instructional videos, and Pele was like probably my first one. Pele, number 10 from Brazil. He was an icon, probably still considered an icon. I don't know.
I think he's
But
probably still top 5 soccer players of all time.
you got to think,
Iconic guys. Yeah.
yeah, like the fact that you know who I'm talking about,
Yeah.
like says something. Like, and he was my first one, and probably the actual purest guy I ever thought was pretty awesome, like a role model in my sport that I loved.
Yeah. No, it's a song. It's crazy how you not force, because you can't force your parents to buy you anything, but they decide to say, okay, well, all right, he likes this guy, and they'll buy you the cleats or the skates or the stick or whatever it is, because Gretzky used that, so you want that, and the way you hold your stick, and you think you're imitating what the guy's doing that you see on TV, but in general, you're not. You're just you probably look a little bit foolish.
Well, like how many kids, 16-year-olds were skating around back in the day with the jersey tucked into the hip, like Wayne always did? Right?
All of them. Everybody wanted the white Titan stick that Gretzky had, and how you just thought you were somebody else. You're something else. I remember, like, the one I remember a little bit more than most, because it's more forefront in my memory, and I was maybe a little bit too old to be imitating somebody who was close to my age, but the year that Felix Potvin came into existence in Leafdom, the 93 playoffs, man, that guy, his equipment was slick. It just looked great, and he had the mock neck, black mock neck underneath his equipment, and the black stick, the black and blue pads with the Leafs, and that guy looked, and I played in Bonnyville. I got some stuff that kind of looked like that, and I think, wow, and I thought I looked really good. I probably look like a fucking idiot, but whatever. But you go back and you look back, and just, man, how, like, the influence that these athletes have on kids. And I don't know how, if like what Jasper's like. Is there somebody that Jasper follows a little bit that goes, man, that guy's pretty good, or kind of taking a jump shot in the backyard or whatever? Is there something that he kind of goes, that's pretty
Actually, no, he doesn't. Like, we don't watch. He doesn't like sports. Like I do. Like he's always riding his bike and doing shit like that. But like, as far as watching sports or being, like, he knows who people are and stuff, but he definitely doesn't have a hero.
That's like, good. And that kind of goes into what I'm kind of leading into here. Back in the 90s, I can't remember what year it was. It doesn't really matter to what we're talking about here, but Charles Barkley got in a bit of hot water by saying he's not a role model and parents should be a role model, which I agree with to an extent. And I think maybe Barkley was misquoted or was misheard, or how he said it. Athletes are role models no matter what they pretend they're not. Is it important for an athlete to present themselves on a proper basis on a daily basis?
I think it's right, and I think it's what they should consider, but they're not obligated to. Like, once again, it being your brand, right? Like, I can see how, like, the anti-hero, the anti-player can draw quite a crowd and quite a following and build their brand. And you know what? I won't say the bad boys, but Nike clearly has a history of signing people that move the needle for whatever reason. Like, Colin Kaepernick didn't get his Nike deal until he started taking a knee, right? Like, he hasn't played a game and he's getting paid. And the Tiger Woods in that HBO documentary, right?
They pursued the black audience,
right? And Nike, did they have a golf? They developed their golf program for Tiger Woods, yeah. So, and then, like, which isn't to say they're not role models, but what I'm talking about is, like, building a brand. And then if that's how you want to sell your image, and if you're good enough to walk it, then I get it.
I don't know, like, man, I don't know why, it would get tiring, I guess, but I don't know why, if you were a professional athlete, why you wouldn't want to be not idolized, and not put on a pedestal, but to be the cock of the walk a little bit and say, hey, that kid likes me. Like, what would deter you from wanting people to like you and to act like you, and to why like, and once again, maybe I'm a glory hound once again, but what would deter a professional athlete from wanting to be imitated?
No, I get it, and you probably want that, but on the flip side now, like a day in the life, and you can have shitty days, like, and you need a thick skin, and you don't, and being on all the time would just get so old, and you just want to live your
Well, how
life.
do we
But I
do it?
realize, no, but there's
I'm kidding.
When we have a shitty day at the office, there's not a reporter waiting for us on our front step, asking us to explain that bad decision someone made at 8:58 in the morning. Like fuck off. Just like, I've done work. I've punched out, and then, like, like someone like Phil Kessel, is he well liked?
He don't care though.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, and he's done all right. Like, he's on his fifth team.
Yeah, he's probably got 80 sheets in the bank.
1, 2, 3. He's on his fourth team. Yeah, at least.
Where's he playing now? Phoenix, I think, right?
Phoenix, yeah, hot dog eating motherfucker. No.
There you go, old fucking Philly Cass. Man, now, okay. On that note, I'm gonna ask a question completely. Would you rather be, like, if money was the same, like, if and I don't know what equates to what, because I don't know the whole thing, but would you rather be an athlete like, let's go two big ones. Would you rather be LeBron James with more money? He's got billions of dollars. Like, he's got $1 billion. Let's say $1 billion. I don't know, but like, it's close probably. Or Babe Ruth, if they both had the same money equally, with the different types of media that they had to deal with, which one would you rather be?
Oh, Babe Ruth, hands down.
Just do whatever you got to do. I got my whatever.
And it's time. It was a simpler time. LeBron spends every waking moment of his day
on his brand.
On brand, like either working on his body or eating or practicing or taking business calls or doing something, and power to him. Like he's one engaged dude. Whereas Babe Ruth, he literally had hot dogs at games between home runs,
whiskey and cigarettes.
Yeah,
I don't know about cigarettes, but there was some drinks, and actually there's
cigars for sure.
There's a thing at the actual Yankee Tavern in the Bronx there that Babe Ruth drank there back in the day. Yeah, I find it shitty personally when these guys make a lot of dough. And I'm not saying sign autographs, because I agree with you completely that would get old. You just want to go for a bite to eat with your family. You want to go for a burger. You want to just be a person. And I get that. But I find it shitty when athletes go out of their way to push back. And like, to be known as this guy's a dickhead, and we know he's a dickhead. Don't be a dickhead. That should just go that should just go general in life.
And I agree. Because an example I was thinking about there was like, so two players, same age, make about the same amount of money, playing on the same team, same city, obviously. So now you're done, and you have 6 hours to kill between practice and showing back up for the game or whatever. Are you going to go out there on the street and then everybody that are you going to walk the streets, go out for coffee and stuff like that, and then just be ready with your pen and hopefully you sign some autographs? Or are you going to go back home and take a nap and watch some TV? Like what do you want to do with your spare time? Like what gets you off, right?
I don't know. Me, I'm signing autographs. I mean, Jesus, whatever. But no, That's a good question, Dave. I don't know, because eventually it does get old.
Yeah, because you are going to want some meantime, and whatever works for you, it works for you. And
Well, you can put it in. You can put it just in a simple. You've been married for what, 20 years now?
yep, well, together, not married,
20
but yeah.
years, and let's just put that in relationship status. And me and the producer have been together for a few years now. You want some alone time no matter what, and that's just two people, let alone thousands of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be tough. Like I'm not downplaying being a role model. Wouldn't be tough, but you kind of get paid pretty good to do it.
Yeah, but you get the same amount of money plying your craft in Florida and Carolina as you do in Toronto and Montreal.
Yeah,
and you can hide. That's a lot easier to hide there.
Man, and because you can only sign so many autographs. If I sign 4 here, I sign 4 there. Whatever. I don't know. So playing in a smaller center, I think would have its benefits. Or because you get the same amount of money. We should quit talking about money. It's tough, but because people are making less and everything else, but man, I find it tough when athletes stick their nose up a little bit.
Yeah, as do I. But I also 100% get it. And they don't. The sports, the business of sports and marketing of sports has changed so much from when you and I were kids. It's the business side of it is now it is a business.
Yeah.
And it makes it different. The rooting interest is different, and maybe that's just my age, and I'm a little bit more jaded than I used to be. But the business
you're about the same. Yeah.
The business side of sport has really taken over a lot of aspects.
You brought this up earlier on, and actually, it's complete coincidence because I have it written down here, and I did this about 2:00 this afternoon. I don't know why, but it came up. You brought Luongo, then you brought up Marty Brodeur and Patrick Roy. But right here, Game 7, who do you want in net? Hasek, Brodeur, Patty Roy, or everyone's favorite goalie of the week, who I think is a little overrated, Carey Price?
I would take. Oh shit! I would take Brodeur.
Proven.
And then I don't know. Hasek, all three of those guys, I would take Brodeur. But all three of the guys, Roy, Hasek, and Carey Price, won some big money games, and like that gold medal Carey Price won over the Swedes in Russia. He made that look easy. He was awesome. Like
that team made it look easy.
Yeah.
I think Price is overrated. I think he's good. I don't think he's all world. He's nowhere near as good as the other three. Not even close.
Yeah, I think he's in the conversation, but I agree. Like Hasek's for 3 years was the best goalie that ever stepped foot on the ice ever in the history of the game. Like the shit that guy stopped blew me away, and he was on his stomach as much as
he's looking like a stop puck in his stomach.
And like, yeah, he was incredible to watch. The competitive, like he was a competitive goalie. He never gave up on a play ever.
No, he was great. No, there's no doubt about that. So you got Brodeur. I'm going Brodeur, Hasek, Raw, then Price. Price has to do a lot more in my lifetime before I even put him in the what's the pantheon of goaltenders. I think he hasn't done anything for me. He's great. His contract's going to hamstring his team. I would take the contract as well, but he ain't winning there. And you brought up his Olympic gold medal. There's a lot of goalies that could have won that gold medal on that team.
And you're probably right. But people that are smarter than hockey than I am said he was like one of the top. Oh, like, so who's better, Jonathan Quick or Carey Price?
Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, you said that pretty quick. J.S. Giguère or Carey Price?
Price. Jaguar had that really big equipment, hey. He's like the Michelin man in Jesus Murphy.
Conn Smythe winner for a losing team.
There you go. Anyways, that's our man. That went a lot longer it set off into some different conversations. Anyways, get a hold of us. You want a cool hat like me and Dave have on? We didn't plan this out. We didn't call each other up, but we got our 1420 hats on. If you want a hat, get a hold of us. There's we can always make a new order. Get some. We got different colors as well. You don't got to look like us. T-shirts, and the producer's got some other stuff going on. It helps promote the show. It's always a kick seeing a guy with a hat on or a T-shirt on. It puts a smile on my face. Anyways, we enjoy we definitely enjoy the publicity, I guess, is one way of doing it. Glory hounds that we are. I think Price is the most overrated fucking goaltender in the history of the game.
I don't think he's that overrated, but
if he wasn't a Montreal Canadian, he wouldn't have got that contract.
Doesn't he have a Vezina?
Yeah. We got one, I think.
Yeah. And he's having an off year. He got hurt, but when he's on, he's one of the best. I think so. The Montreal really hasn't given him a chance to win.
No, that's true.
They've had some pretty shitty teams.
That's true. Like
I hear ya.
Like when you got you get paid that much money. I mean, like who the fuck was the GM in Montreal saying we'll give fucking Subban $9 million, we'll give Price $9 million, and we're gonna win? No, you're not. You're not.
That Subban deal, as soon as they sign it, I go, you're fucking crazy. I don't know how.
That's just math. You're spending $19 million for two guys.
Yeah.
How are you gonna win? And one's not scoring any goals.
Yeah, but
in fact, two are scoring any goals because the other one's just a defenseman.
Markstrom for the Flames, like when he's been out, he's earned every dollar. Like he's won some games for him.
Yeah, without him, they've been struggling for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, they would be terrible.
Oh, are they winning tonight? Because they got Ottawa tonight, don't they? Yeah.
Are they winning?
I got 10,000 fucking games on it here.
Here, I'll look up the scores. Oh, 5-1 Flames.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they needed a comeback.
The Blackhawks are doing good. I like that.
I do too. I like the Blackhawks a lot, actually.
Patty Kane, 400 goals this week, eh?
When I was at my brother-in-law's house, like, I think I talked about this the other night, like when he said Kane's only got 400. Like, you just assume he would have more. Because back when players were really, like, because everybody had 500 goals. You know what I mean? Like, it was like,
yeah,
like only 400. He's been around for 15 fucking years.
And you're like, so he's the second highest American-born scorer, eh?
Behind Modano?
Yeah.
Who's better, Patty Kane or fucking Roenick?
Oh. Roenick probably had more game, but but Kane's a better goal scorer.
Kane's more skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roenick's feistier.
Uh-huh. And he played a good game. Like Roenick was a fun player to watch.
And good on the mic and everything else. And yeah,
mm-hmm.
He was good. No doubt about that.
Kane's a bit of a meathead, but fucker
that Stanley Cup parade when Versteeg was fucking rapping on stage and Kane. Do you remember seeing that? And Kane just fucking dying, eh? All 150 pounds. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be beating up any cabbies in Buffalo or whatever. Fucking dude. Funny stuff. Like really funny stuff, I thought, anyways. But
speaking of Buffalo, that the Sabres franchise is just snake bit. Like they're trying, but
Hey, you go for a dart. I gotta run upstairs. Go for a leak.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna keep my headphones in.
Yeah. Hey, sorry.
Oh, you're all right. I just read some on Twitter. I'm going to share it with you on air, and I'm going to replace my Would You Rather with this. I think this one's a little bit more fun, actually.
Hey.
Where are we now? Where are we? Oh, now we got the rebuild, right? Yeah. Okay.
Curling's on.
Yeah. The Briar starts today. They're in the bubble.
The bubble.
That's one sport where it's pretty easy, actually, eh?
Yeah. Like, no one's coming. Okay.
I'm still on the Twitter. This one guy, that's Jason Smith. He's a sports reporter from New York. He's a fun follow. He's a Mets and Jets fan. He tweeted, "However you want to slice it, Ben Roethlisberger will be the fourth best quarterback in the AFC North this season."
Oh yeah, there you go.
Fine. Like, I just hope Pittsburgh has a fall from grace because they deserve to be in the bottom for a while. They've had it so easy with the Bengals and fucking Browns forever, and now those teams are relevant.
That's just it. Like, fall from like, and that's like actually a good segue to what we're going to talk about here, because like eventually Ben's going to leave.
Yeah,
you got to move on to something else. So when do you say, okay, leave, so we can move on to something else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I'm ready for that. Like, if we want to, yeah.
And when does management say this is the time, and the ownership says, "Oh, fuck, 8-8 ain't coming."
Yeah, and then as far as that goes, then like my philosophy that I thought of today would work for hockey and football, and well, you'll hear what I got to say. All right. We never got to Ben Roethlisberger.
The Boston Red Sox made a conscious decision in the last couple of years to get rid of, I'm not saying they're all Hall of Famers, but guys like Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, David Price, Joe Kelly, and their closer, Craig Kimbrell, since winning the World Series with the against the Dodgers in 2018. And then have just completely rebuilt their team to not even a contender. Dave, at what point do you, as a GM, do you say enough's enough and we got to restart? Is it a money thing more than a we can be competitive team, or why would an owner agree to that kind of a situation?
Well, with a team like that Boston Red Sox team that you just mentioned, like, I don't understand how that vision was sold to the owner, because they chose not to sign Mookie Betts, and they let Bradley Jr. walk, and they didn't even try to retool and rebuild. So I don't understand how that one works. Like, I don't know if the owner said, like, I'm paying too much money, I'm like, let's take a break for 5 years and build, and then we'll see. Like, I don't know. Does the GM go to the owner for that, or does the owner go to the GM? I'm done paying payroll tax for 5 years.
Well, that's one thing I don't get, because we talked off air a little bit about the Red Sox will have revenue in the seats for sure, no matter what. But at what point do you, like, winning is important for every fan base and for every owner. And I think we talked about it months ago that these a lot of these teams are just, they're toys for these billionaires, because they're billionaires. And when the billionaires talk with each other, yeah, I have 4 championship rings and you only have 3. And like whoever owns the Red Sox, I can't remember who their names are, but when they sit with Bobby Kraft, and Kraft shows his Super Bowl titles in Boston, and whoever the owner of the Red Sox is, well, I have 3. Wouldn't you think one would take a little bit from the other and say, well, just don't rebuild, retool?
Yeah. Yeah, but the way the certain situation that happened with the Pats there, you have to here's what it has to happen. Any franchise, no matter what the sport, you have to have your key pieces of talent on the field that are in lockstep with the coach, that are in lockstep with the GM, that are in lockstep with the owner. That's the only way a dynasty can happen these days, like the Pats.
Maybe
There has to be total faith in the stars and the coach, and money flexibility with the stars.
Maybe the Pats a bad example because they had the GOAT, their piloting the whole thing. But my oh my, it's how to go from one level to the next, especially in a high in team with a high payroll, and they spend a lot of money, and how they go from one level to the next and drop the hat. It doesn't make a bunch of sense why you would go from contender to not even a pretender. It just like why you go from one extreme to the other in that short of a time frame. It doesn't make sense to me.
I completely hear it, but like now, like the more of a head scratcher, like to me, even more than that, are like the mid-market teams, and when those guys take a run at it, they probably see their prospects. Okay, like this is what we're going to pay for they're looking down the road, and they want to build the team and save payroll, and then get your one or two free agents. Like if you're going to make a run, there's always going to be a closer for sale at the deadline, right? Like the Cubs with the gun-toting Cuban. Yeah.
Well, Aroldis Chapman's his name, but whatever. It's fine.
He's a gun-toting Cuban.
Well, yeah, there was a situation there. Absolutely. I'm not exactly sure the details of that, but
just have a team needs the financial flexibility and the proper core to go for it. If they're a mid-market, you can't stack the deck like you can.
Well, and that's the thing that happened with and you look at the Cubs now, and they're already in a rebuilding stage. They got rid of some guys, and they gave up a guy like Gleyber Torres to win that championship. And Torres was going to be an all-timer for the Cubs. He's with the Yankees now. And then Chapman went back to the Yankees. But anyways, it's just, you talked earlier on about the Kansas City Royals, how they would build a team through the draft, do it properly, and get one guy that maybe put them over the top. But how a team can go, maybe we should stop being close. Maybe let's just rebuild this entire thing, start from scratch, which kind of what the Red Sox are doing now, which is weird for a team in the last 20 years who's been relevant more than they ever have been. It's odd for a team like that they're part owner, or their owners own a soccer team as well. They have more money than anybody other than the Yankees, but for them to just, let's start over.
Yeah, but when they like it'd be an interesting conversation, because like that doesn't happen. A GM doesn't keep his job and do that without the full support or coercing of ownership. A team has to give their fans a reason to come, but unless like you're like Boston, who has season tickets sold out for the next 75 years, you don't have to worry about your revenue stream. You don't have to worry about your contract, right? Like it'll come, and I don't know. They like you said, in the last 20 years, they got 5 titles. That's pretty good.
I think it's just 3. I hope it's only 3. Fuck
3,
me.
I think it's 3 or 4.
Anyways, you move on, and then you look on the other side, though. We talked about it last podcast, where a team like Detroit made the playoffs for 20 whatever years in a row. Vancouver did it for a lot of years in a row, and they get 2 or 3 gate revenues, makes $1 million per. Like for hockey, makes $1 million. They average about $1 million per home playoff date. Is that worth being average? Is being average good enough for a fan base or ownership?
Here's what I think.
This ought to be good.
It's so goddamn hard. There's only one champion a year.
Yeah.
And we all see the teams that do it. They have a solid core with usually some pretty good guys on the cheap that are overperforming as rookies, second, third years. So you need that. What I think in hockey that you have to do if you want to rebuild, you have to show that you have to become an attractive location for free agents that are going to sign on the cheap. And that's Toronto with like Marlowe last year and now Spezza and Thornton. Again, they're past their prime. I get it, but now they're willing to play for league minimum because Toronto's an attractive place. Because that's where those boys were born and raised. They were as Leaf fans. They have a super young core, and they got a legitimate chance to win. Like that's, and they signed their 1-year deals.
Spezza has been unbelievable for that team. I watch a lot of Leafs games with the producer and her brother. Spezza has been unbelievable, and
they're re-energized and they're happy to contribute. And there's nothing more Spezza and Thornton want more than to win a cup from the Leafs. And when you have that young core that needs some motivation, sees for sure one Hall of Famer and one lick in the jar of seasoned pros just busting their nut to try and win. I think emotion like that is needed to win in hockey.
That's what not bothers me. I'm glad the Red Sox are retooling or whatever they're doing there. I like to see them lose games. And I don't understand to be that only 2 years away, 2 years removed from a World Series championship to a team that might win 70 games. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, when money's not an object, why wouldn't you try and win every year? And I get it. Sometimes like your players get older and you can't win every year, especially in baseball and hockey. It's obviously Belichick and Brady showed that you could do it a lot.
Yeah,
but
I just find it's astonishing that you trade for prospects and all of a sudden you're trading your future away for a kid who's 18 doesn't even know who's on your team.
But you get the right ones, especially in hockey. If you can nail 2 4th-rounders out of a 5-year draft, like then you're set right up. Especially if you got a goalie that you're not paying money for. It's in the salary cap world now. It's like what you can do with the money you have. And then I'm wondering if like a team like the Jays, like who's their veteran presence, right? Like who's a winner that plays for that team? I guess the outfielder now. I think
they got that no good cheating motherfucker George Springer now.
Once again,
unproven. I get it. But
and then if you're at bat and you hear that garbage can banging, are you not going to swing?
If I'm in the stadium, I'm standing beside a garbage can every time that guy's up, and if I go to Sky Dome or whatever it is next couple of years, and I'm by a garbage can, I'm banging on it somehow. I'm buying a souvenir bat and stroking that thing hard to maybe he thinks it's a curveball from back in the day.
Whatever. But
I and I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not my line, but I heard it on the MLB radio network. Prospects are cool, but championships are cooler, man.
But you got a team like Toronto. They've made that place an attractive place to sign right now. Like they have an exciting young base. They're the San Diego Padres of the American League, right?
Yeah.
They got a chance.
And the Jays are close. I think the Jays are about at worst 86 wins, at best about 93, 94, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's all of a sudden it's a playoff team to a non-playoff team.
Right. And then if their pitching staff overperforms, I think and their young players take another step, they got a really legitimate shot.
No, they're right there.
Yeah.
I just find I think retooling is better than rebuilding.
Yeah, but at times, like if you are a small market, and the Jays, I would qualify them as mid market.
Yeah.
But a team like the Royals, they were a small market. You can't sustain that payroll and everything. Like
No.
you've you've hit these draft choices. Everybody's coming into their prime. Now we need some pieces. Let's spend a little bit of dough and make a run for it. And good for
Right.
them, right?
No, I
And
agree.
and Billy Bean obviously has it figured out with the A's. He does it with no fucking payroll.
The biggest
And
farce in baseball, Billy Bean. Win something.
well, with like once again, on a dollar per win regular season, I don't think there's anyone better. But win something.
Win something.
God, I wanted Giambi to beat the fucking Yankees that year when Jeter did that thing. I was so mad at Giambi for not
Actually,
giving more.
down here in the tavern, maybe next time we record when I'm down here, I'll spin the table a little bit, and there's a great shot of Jorge Posada tagging out Jeremy Giambi with Jeter in the background, and it clearly shows that Giambi was out.
Oh no, there's no doubt. But like you fucking slide, motherfucker. He slides.
Do something other than everything he did.
And so
what you did.
He trotted home. He saw the throw was wide, and he didn't realize the shortstop figured it out before he did.
Dave, before we get to the would you rather, I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to complete the sentence. Everyone who knows me knows I love blank.
Beer.
Beer. That's it, eh? Pretty one-dimensional. Like not even Neapolitan ice cream, eh? Beer.
Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos.
And beer.
And beer. That's it. Of course, your family and everything else, but yeah. The Denver Broncos and beer.
And what's your answer then?
Ice cream and hugs.
Who says you love hugs? You're
my mother and my girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh,
love hugs. Love hugs. Anyways, be sure to make sure you talk to your friends about the show. A lot of laughs, a lot of things go on a nightly basis. Dave's got the Would You Rather coming up right away. iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio and everything else. The Flames just scored again. They're up 14-0 now. I think it's going just 7-3. My God, the Senators stink. I'm a little tired of the Canadian division, but got to keep watching. All right, before we get rolling here on the Would You Rather and the Dave segment of the week, and we get a little bit goopy here on Thursday nights, obviously on the 1420 podcast, start talking about different things and ramble on a little bit. But Dave, when's the last time you tackled a Rubik's Cube?
Not that long ago, like within 10 days, because my kid has a couple.
Yeah.
And he has a keychain one that I play with once in a while. I can only do one side. I've never been able to solve that thing.
It's funny you said that. I'm a one side ninja. I get one side in about 40 to 45 seconds flat. And then I try to turn it. I remember back when I was younger, I'm trying to figure out how to do it again. I haven't been able to figure out the 2 and 3 sides like I used to when I was 10. Maybe I'm getting dumber as I get older, but man, oh man, the only person I ever seen figure that out was my mother. It got to be 40 years ago. She figured it out and she threw it against the wall and it broke into pieces. She was so happy and frustrated and relief all in one emotion. And yeah, the Rubik's Cube's a thing. The producer hasn't had a whole bunch of success with the Rubik's Cube, but I'm hoping that she figures it all out. And maybe we should buy a couple, maybe one for me, one for you, one for your wife, one for the producer, so who can figure it all at once. Might be a fun little game to play.
We have 3 in my house right now, like all my sons. Yeah. Like when you say figured out, like the whole thing?
The whole thing, my friend.
Oh, I'm not taking that time. I'm too busy.
You're too busy.
I couldn't figure it out when I had 10 hours to spend on it when I was 12.
I remember taking those things apart and taking stickers off.
Exactly. Yeah. I knew how to take them apart.
The easiest way to figure out the Rubik's Cube. It was always that was the only way to do it.
And then you got so mad when someone messed it back up again. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to take it apart again.
No, no kidding. The Rubik's Cube, it's tough to this day. You said you're changing it to Would You Rather this week. What's the topic, and fill me in?
Well, we took a break there, and then I got on my Twitter. First, I found a couple of good things on Twitter. First is just a random fact. Since 2016, Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders leads every NFL quarterback in two categories: losses and game-winning drives.
So he's never ahead.
He's come from behind 19 times, and he's lost 41 games.
So he never plays ahead.
That's what it sounds like to me. Is that his fault or the defense fault? I just thought that was a very interesting stat. Losses and game-winning drives. So,
well,
yeah,
the defense puts it behind, so he comes back. So you got to give him $40 million a year. Good idea. Yeah.
So since 2016, the Raiders have been behind in 60 games in the fourth quarter. That's a lot of games. But I did have a Would You Rather. I'm going to put that on the shelf for another thing, because I read another interesting thing. On Twitter, I follow this thing called On This Day in History. On this day in history, John Candy died.
I did hear that.
In 1994.
At the age of 43, I believe.
Best John Candy movie. Most underrated John Candy movie and favorite.
I liked Uncle Buck a lot. His not cameo per se, but when he was on Home Alone, when Mom was getting back to New York,
and the polka band
band was really good. When he was Johnny LaRue on SCTV, classic stuff. Like Johnny LaRue was just the laugh him and Catherine O'Hara had, and that was some funny stuff.
The polka guys with him and Eugene Levy in SCTV was hilarious as well.
It was fantastic, absolutely freaking phenomenal.
Planes, Trains, John Candy is so classic, and like I said, my favorite moment might be in of John Candy is when he goes and confronts the teacher and Uncle Buck, and here's a nickel, get a rat to gnaw that mole off your face, or whatever. Yeah. What does he say there?
Right along those lines. It's just funny. Just flat out funny. Anyways, Dave, I posted a question on social media the other day about guilty pleasure songs and things you don't, the 80s, 90s, or it could be 2000s, doesn't matter when the songs are. We all have them. We all have songs we're a little embarrassed to know, to like, to know the words to, and then to sing along to. Dave, is there a couple songs that, and not a rock song, like the one that, like, is there a couple that, like, you look around a little bit and you peek over your shoulder and then you turn it up a little bit and then you start singing along? Is there one or two that you got?
Oh, there's here's my problem. I have so many of these songs that I like that I didn't realize people don't like these songs. Like I like a ton of Cheese 80. Like, I'll give you one that I'll sing along to is Aha, Take On Me. I love that song.
Still, hey?
Oh, when it comes on, I hum along. Like, and then I pretend to sing really high like a guy with like that guy. Like, I'll sing along to that song every time.
Well, that song's not a bad tune. Like, I mean, I saw one of my all-time favorites. One thing that I've learned is that and people maybe don't know. No, they know. I really, really, really like the harmonies of the Backstreet Boys, and I sing along to that like no one's business. It doesn't. Now that I'm getting older, I don't hide it anymore. I know the words. I know the different octaves, everything else. I can sing along to those all the time. Like, it doesn't bother me one bit.
See, and I like Backstreet and NSYNC. I don't mind. I won't turn it up, but I won't turn it off either, and I'll enjoy it. But I could sing a couple of 2-3 Spice Girls songs if you. I think you may have even witnessed me singing a
What's
stop.
your favorite Spice Girls song, Dave?
Oh, Stop Right Now. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I think back in the day, back when we were the Good Time Boys and all cool and stuff, we apparently we weren't that cool because we would put that on and it would drive Niner crazy. We played in his house there a little bit. Just funny stuff. Do you miss those days of fun songs? So I don't know if they're the same songs are out there anymore that in pop music that maybe parents who are, let's say in their, because I don't know, like let's say a parent who's in their 30s and have a 8 or 9 year old. Is there songs out there that they stand the test of time that we have now?
I'm curious. I don't know. Like I think like this Ed Sheeran, like my kid and my wife know a lot of his songs. Like it seems like, well, and they listen to the pop songs more than I'm listening to a podcast or the radio and instead of talk radio, whereas they would listen and when I go to recently downloaded music on iTunes, I don't know any of it, and so I give them that. But I don't know, like I don't think there's any pop icons like there used to be. There might be, we'll find out. But there's still 80 stations for reasons, right?
Yeah.
It's fun music. It is. It's much more lighthearted and toe tapping. And whereas the 90s became a little bit harder and then grunge and like not fun music.
I got a kick out of it. I put that question out on Facebook, Twitter yesterday and everywhere else. And a friend of mine, Ryan Pinakin, he's hard as fuck, eh? Like leather jacket, punk rock, the whole shebang, like the leather, the studs in the jacket. He says, but when I hear Strange Animal by Gowan, that's when he starts singing nonstop. Eh? Like that's the one. Like I couldn't name 2 bands he listens to, but when he hears Gowan, that's it. Like that's the one he sings along to, knows all the words to. I just find it funny. It makes me laugh to all these songs people listen to.
And same with Hall & Oates. I love the shit out of Hall & Oates.
What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
Oh, what is it? Might be probably Kiss is on your list. Is on my list. Or Rich Girl.
Rich Girl's a good one. That's a good one. I'm Out of Touch. I like Out of Touch from Big Bang Boom. Out of Touch, Hall & Oates. I like that song a lot. One that brought a smile to my face, Mona, a girl I went to school with back at Notre Dame years and years and years ago. All of a sudden, I'm 75 years old. But OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, If You Leave.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's from Pretty in Pink soundtrack.
I believe you're right. Yep. That or Breakfast Club or one of those ones. Yeah.
Yep.
I can do note for note and when to drop it. I've been listening to that song for 30 whatever years now. Love that song.
What about oh shit. Now I forget it. The Breakfast Club. Christ, I had
Simple
it on
Minds.
the tip of my Simple Minds saying, I pity the fool that doesn't go sha la la la.
Yeah.
La la.
That's a nice
when it hits you in the right thing, I love singing that. There's
no doubt about that. One thing that I got a response today, and I don't know if you were at the Is Oasis pub with me the night when there was we were watching. You had to have been there because we didn't go there without each other back in the day. There was a UFC fight on, and of course, all hell breaks loose because all the machismo came out. and I can't remember the guy's name. Frazier.
I know who you're talking about.
He put Mandy on the jukebox because there was a fight trying to calm things down. Anyways, my uncle Neil from Fort McLeod there, I put the question on Facebook there. The song he's a little ashamed to know he knows the words to. He said Mandy, and I'm like, all right, man, that's the one you like. I mean, Barry Manilow. I mean, whatever, Copacabana and everything else. Who knows? But there's songs we all, and as you get older, the less you care about if you like it. You know what I mean?
Oh no, without a doubt. Like I think I cared less earlier than you were supposed to.
Yeah.
But now that I'm this age, it's just like jam it.
Yeah, play it. It's good, fine, it's whatever. And I'll sing and turn it up if people are in the same room as me. I turn this up. I like this song, and let people know. It's there's a lot of good ones. Is there any that are popular that you just can't take though? Like I'm good.
Like a new school music?
No, older stuff.
Oh, like anything. Well, like we've discussed this earlier. Anything by heart is just like nails on a chalkboard.
No, but pop songs that people are like, oh fuck, I like this song. Like
Barbie Girl. Like
that's bad.
That's a terrible song. I never enjoyed it when it was popular.
Yeah, that's
and same with I Get Knocked Down.
Really bad.
Yeah, those aren't that good of songs.
And I believe they were about the same year, about 97, 98.
Yeah, in and around, yeah.
Yeah, not good at all. No.
Just a terrible pop song. No, and then you know what? Like when you say 80s pop music, you know, that's kind of like Bon Jovi too in the
I don't say anything bad about Bon Jovi.
Oh no, like bad
This will be it.
And like if you're as far as a road tune, if you're driving by yourself, Dead or Alive, that's so fun to sing loud.
We might have talked with in other podcasts in the past, but have you ever seen that video of a guy in the park sitting on the bench by himself, and he just starts singing, Tommy used to work on the dock?
Yeah, I did see that with, yeah.
That's awesome.
That is kind of neat when something like that.
We should try that. We should try that someday and see what could happen. I don't know what park gets that packed in Lethbridge, Alberta. I have no idea. But that might be a good time to see what could happen and see if everybody could sing that song. Because that's awesome. I thought that was awesome.
That is really neat. I don't, yeah, it's going to depend on I don't know.
Well, COVID.
Well, yeah, and also the randomness of park goers, right? Like I'm not a real park going guy. I don't go to a park and sit down. Like I walk around. I might have a picnic lunch and play some Frisbee with my kid, but I don't go there and sit on a park bench and feed pigeons either.
I'll be the bench sitter. I will tell you what day I'm going.
Maybe at an inning break of a baseball game or something like that. That would be the time to try something like that.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah.
We should set that up somehow. If the Wimble happens this year, we should set that up where we maybe tell the PA guy, hey, don't play anything for this half inning. In the bottom of the fifth, don't play anything. And somebody out in right field, the seats, start singing a little bit. And then you guys start, and then just kind of work it out and see who joins in.
Well, we'll have to, like, that's the seed is planted. There's a lot of germination before we see any fruit.
We can orchestrate that because we're a big hit amongst in Alberta here and everything else, and people might be able to figure this out. We should try it right across the land. Posted a question just before we went on air tonight, Dave. What's a pet peeve of yours in sports? Like, what's one thing that you just had enough of lately?
Nothing really. Like no fans in the stands, but like they're trying to change that, and I hope everything goes well. You hit on a good one the other day, the gratuitous tribute.
Funny story, Dave. You got time?
Yeah, go ahead. Where am I going?
Where are you going?
Here, let me check my watch.
I was because I work from home today. I was listening to Michael Kay show out of New York, and they brought up the same topic about frickin' tributes. I was like, do they listen to podcasts? They don't. But I was just like, huh. And they brought up that in Houston last night, the Nets were down there, and they brought up a tribute to James Harden. Michael Kay lost his shit. Like, this guy disrespected that team. He wanted nothing more than to get traded from there, and they still gave him a tribute.
Fuck that shit. James Harden. If I'm the Houston Rockets, when James Harden hits the court, I play "Girl, Don't Go Away." Just don't go away, man. Just go away.
Yeah. And that when what we were saying about these tributes that just pop up out of nowhere. So maybe they were hitting the airwaves. Who knows? Because that was one of those things. The tribute thing. There was a girl, the most handsome woman that I've ever met, Natalie Fleury. She banging on glass at hockey games drives her nuts. Just drives her bonkers. She responded there, and I get it. Like, the players aren't watching. They don't care. They get their head banged against the glass. They're like, who are you? Like, what's going on?
It gives them a charge, if anything. Like,
it's just funny to me. It's the banging and the Darcy. He longtime listener. He said the term "the GOAT." Like, it's overused.
It is. It is now, and we've mentioned that beforehand, how the GOAT used to be a bad thing. Now it's greatest of all time. Now it's an acronym.
Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with that. Do you know what else bothers the shit out of me at live sporting events? Super fans. The face painters with the wig wearers, the chest painters, like, fuck, we get it. I paid money for my seat. You paid the exact same money for your seat because you're 2 doors away from me. Sit the fuck down and just let me watch my game. It's one of the things that actually turned me off of NFL and like NFL live games. Super fans drives me fucking nuts. I want to watch my game.
Don't want to take away from the fun we've had tonight, but just came across the airwaves notification. Walter Gretzky just passed away at the age of 82. Canada's hockey father, the hockey dad of all time, Walter Gretzky, passed away tonight. Condolences to man, what a man that guy. The story, I've heard a couple of stories about that guy. You can go to his back door in Brantford, Ontario, and see the Gretzky shrine downstairs. So condolences to the Gretzky family. Wow, that's he's a hockey dad of Canada.
Hockey dad of Canada.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, we'll end it on that. Sorry, on a sad note. My God, I didn't expect that. I probably shouldn't have brought it up. But anyways, Dave, big weekend. The weather is supposed to be right there. Any big plans?
No big plans. The weather's going to be nice, and then so hopefully get some outdoor time. I've never in my entire life had my fucking Christmas lights up this late. There's never been a pleasant Sunday between here and third week of January for me to take these lights off. So the lights are coming down on 13th Street North on Sunday.
Can't you take them down a little by little? Tuesday?
No. It's
all at once.
Yeah, it's all at once, because then they got to get stowed. And if they're not all stowed at the same time, then they're in the way. And my garage, I don't have that. Nonetheless, that box will be checked come Tuesday. Also, I mentioned, hey, run a homework assignment for the weekend.
Pardon me?
Do you want a homework assignment?
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Icarus?
No.
Watch it. It's
Icarus.
It's called Icarus. Icarus. It's a documentary. It's about this reporter who's an amateur cyclist, and he did this bike race, and he wanted to do steroids and do it the next year. And then he got hooked up with a Russian steroid guy. And then the documentary takes off from there. I won't spoil anything. Watch Icarus. I've watched it before. I will watch it again because I wouldn't mind talking about a movie like that on Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's my homework assignment for the weekend. I'll watch that on Sunday afternoon.
Parts of it are jaw-dropping. It's a wicked cool movie if drugs and sports interest you. Yeah, you know
Thursday,
what I mean.
Dave. I will watch that for sure. That'll be Tuesday, but next Thursday we're going to have a different kind of segment. The producer is going to have trivia questions available. Whether she gives us a hint what they are, it's me versus you trivia. There'll be sports. We'll do basketball. No, not basketball. Sorry, football, baseball, hockey, and pop culture.
Okay, so just a mini little
me versus
Jeopardy.
you trivia. We'll maybe she'll put some questions out there and get some questions out there and see how smart we actually aren't. It might be a fun little segment we can go with there, but it might be something to look forward to. Icarus, I will watch that this weekend. How long is the movie?
90 minutes.
Longer than most of my relationships, my friend.
You've scrolled Twitter on the can longer than that.
That's a lot longer. After a few burritos from Taco Bell. That's funny. Anyways, Dave, take care of yourself. But take care of your point. Take care of yourself to meet you around. Keep your stick on the ice. And what else, Dave?
Don't swing at high pitches.
Don't swing at high pitches because you're going to miss them and look stupid. Take it easy, folks. We'll see you on Saturday.